So in the first part, we would like to talk about how the social perceptions are. Do others know that you have a food fetish before?
Not really. Like, it's not something that I would go around and spread that, it's a bit of a private matter, so that's why I think I would try to conceal it a little bit more. So no, not really. Yeah.
How would they react if they really know you got a food fetish?
For my partners, I think they would be a little bit more accepting, but then, if you're talking about someone from a different age group or someone with a different social perspective, a different social background, maybe they would react a little bit more weirdly or think that, you're a freak or something.
Have you ever feel judged or stigmatized because of this fat preference?
Well, a little bit. It probably depends on what kind of community you grown up in, but especially in, I guess, Hong Kong's case, it's a bit of a weird thing. It's a bit of a unique thing, but for the average person, might feel very weirded out by that. So I try to kind of conceal it a little bit.
How do you feel when you know your partner has a foot fetish?
At first, I didn't really know what foot fetish is, and I was a bit weirded out by this very blunt share by my partner. But then, as he told me more about this, what is foot fetish, I slowly gained more knowledge on it, and now I don't really have much bias against this.
So, what exactly did they do to you? Like, how do you react to that?
We were actually just chatting, and then he brought up this topic about having foot fetishes, and then he started to talk about how did he discovered about his foot fetish, and then he shared a bit more about this kind of interest, and then slowly we have some intimate activities. He may also put more focus on my feet.
Have you ever felt embarrassed or ashamed because of your partner having this foot fetish?
Not really, because we won't really share with anyone else. This is only something that me and him would share with each other, so I don't really feel embarrassed.
Does your impression change after knowing your partner has this foot fetish?
First, I was a bit shocked, but then slowly I still realized that it's just a part of him, and like other parts, like his personality and other stuff, has no really direct any correlation with this foot fetish. So I don't really have any different opinions towards him as a person after knowing he has foot fetish.
How do you think today's society generally perceive food fetish?
I think, at least globally, probably it's a bit more open now because, people are more willing to talk about these sexual experiences, and I think that you are in a more intimate relationship and you open up to it, it's probably a bit better. But generally, as a society, especially in probably Asian communities, I think there's still a bit more stigmatization, or there generally a negative perception as being a bit weird.
How open are people in your social circles when it comes to discussing some sexual preference like fetish or some other sexual preferences?
Well, I think for people of my age, I think they're relatively open in terms of sexual preferences. But obviously, some sexual preferences are more common than others. Some are more accepted than others. If I say I have a foot fetish, it might still feel a bit weird, or I might be a bit fearful in terms of opening up, sharing about it.
Would they talk about sex or some other preferences as you mentioned?
Obviously not on a daily basis, obviously, but sometimes if the topic or conversation shifts towards that, like discussing about the people we meet, how do they look or how do they dress, or just talking about relationships between us and our partners. We might talk about these experiences, and at that point we'll be more comfortable sharing these fetishes or whatever.
Do you think today's society's view on fetish or differ from attitudes or toward other sexual interests? Were there any differences between fetish or other sexual preferences?
I think kind of, because to be labeled a fetish, it might be a bit more rare or unique in a way, and might be less accepted by the general public. Just having a sexual preference might just be how a person looks, or what type of person do you like or prefer. But for a fetish, it might be involving certain actions that quite a large majority or a portion of the population might not enjoy or view as something that they've never really thought of before. So yes, there is an obvious difference, I think.
Do you think expressing your interest in fit is a difficult or embarrassing stuff?
Yes. to be quite honest, because I'm obviously not something that I would spread, and obviously online there's a lot of people who are quite skeptical and use this as a kind of joke to, well, I won't say marginalize, but it's definitely something that is not very accepted. So yeah, I do sometimes feel embarrassed, and I might refrain from sharing it, or I have to make sure that the relationship is very, very mature and developed before I share this, and I have to be really careful in how I structure and share this information about myself.
How do you think today's society generally perceive foot fetishes?
I think in today's society, people still have some stigma against foot fetish, as people may think it's a bit weird, or it's not some a body part that's like very popularly liked or have really people talk about it that much. So I think there's still a bit stigma on this.